The mysterious death of Nolan Wells, the boy who never came home. Every summer, thousands of people head to the Gulf Coast for the 4th of July. This year, hundreds of them made the trip to a remote barrier island off the Mississippi coast. One of them was 18-year-old Nolan Xavier Wells. By the end of the day, almost everyone came home. His friends came home. The boat came home. His phone came home. Even his car keys made it back. Nolan didn't. 2 days later, searchers found his body on the northwest shore of Horn Island. Investigators say there's no evidence of foul play, but his family isn't ready to accept that, pointing to conflicting witness statements and a timeline that doesn't line up. This is a reconstruction of what happened, based only on what's been reported and confirmed. This is the mysterious death of Nolan Wells. If you're new here, this channel breaks down real unsolved and ongoing cases the way they actually happened. No sensationalizing. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications. This case is still active, and we'll be tracking every update. Who was Nolan Wells? To his family, Nolan wasn't just another teenager. He was the youngest brother, the funny one, the one who never met a stranger. Born October 24, 2007, in Ocean Springs, Mississippi, Nolan grew up surrounded by a big family. He played football, baseball, and basketball and learned to swim at the YMCA, but football became his real passion. He graduated from Ocean Springs High School and earned a spot as a wide receiver at Southwest Mississippi Community College, where coaches called him disciplined and hardworking, and teammates called him dependable. He wasn't drifting through life, he had a plan, and he was days away from reporting back for football. His father put it simply, Nolan had always been taught, if you go somewhere together, you come home together. That one line would come to define everything that followed. On the evening of July 3rd, Nolan cooked dinner for his parents. Before leaving to stay the night with friends, he hugged his mother, Christine, and told her, I love you. Nobody knew those would be some of the last words she'd hear from her son. Horn Island, July 4th. Horn Island sits about 10 miles offshore, part of the Gulf Islands National Seashore. No restaurants, no hotels, no cell service, no drinking water. Whatever you bring is what you have. Most days it's empty, but every 4th of July it transforms. Hundreds of boats anchor along the shore, and this year witnesses estimated close to 300 of them lined the beach. That morning, Nolan headed out with friends including Traceston Track, Shepard, and Wyatt Peon, whose boat the group used. His close friend Javon Williams had planned to ride along too, but the boat filled up before he arrived, so Javon traveled separately. GPS records show the boat leaving the mainland just before 10 a.m. and reaching Horn Island about an hour later. Nothing seemed unusual. Nolan socialized, drinks were flowing across the beach, and at some point that afternoon he met a young woman named Katie McCormick, one of the only details every witness agrees on. He was last seen with her, in blue swim trunks and sunglasses, relaxed and happy. After that, the story falls apart. The unraveling timeline. Nolan left his cell phone on the boat that day. On its own, that isn't strange. There's no signal on Horn Island, and plenty of visitors leave their phones behind rather than risk losing them in the water. What troubles his family isn't that the phone stayed on the boat. It's that the phone made it back to the mainland, and Nolan didn't. Even his last confirmed sighting is disputed. Sheriff John Ledbetter said investigators believe Nolan was last seen around 3 p.m., but Javon Williams says he saw Nolan later. The two greeted each other. Nolan reportedly told him, I love you, bro, and then went back to talk with Katie. If that's accurate, Nolan was alive closer to 4 p.m. That 1-hour gap matters because it determines who was still on the beach and who might have seen something. According to several friends, and confirmed by investigators through multiple witnesses, Nolan said he planned to stay behind and catch a later ride. His parents don't accept that. He'd been raised never to separate from the people he arrived with, especially without transportation or a phone. Then came a conflicting account. Attorney Ben Crump says Katie told investigators the opposite, that Nolan planned to return to his friend's boat. Both versions can't be true, unless Nolan changed his mind somewhere in between. Shortly after leaving the island, the group's boat started taking on water. The bilge pump had failed. Someone radioed for help. We're sinking. Can you all please come? Asked if everyone aboard was okay, the answer came back, "Yeah, everybody's on board." The emergency was real and the boat made it back safely, but it still doesn't explain why Nolan wasn't on it. Around 11 p.m., a friend called the Coast Guard, who initially said assistance wasn't yet needed. Minutes later, Christine Wells got the call every parent dreads. Nolan had stayed behind with a woman named Katie, and now Katie was missing too. Christine couldn't make sense of it. How could Nolan have chosen to stay with someone if nobody could clearly say who she was or where she'd gone? That, she says, is the moment the story stopped adding up. The search and the discovery. Just after midnight, Nolan's parents contacted local law enforcement. Jurisdiction was initially unclear, since Horn Island falls under multiple agencies, but the Jackson County Sheriff's Office eventually opened a missing persons case. The Coast Guard joined, along with the United Cajun Navy. Friends, coaches, and family searched by boat while helicopters scanned the shoreline. Hours passed. Nothing. On the morning of July 6th, at 8:45 a.m., a National Park Service ranger found a body on the northwest shore of Horn Island. By late morning, Nolan's family had confirmed it at the coroner's office. He was 18 years old. Their search was over. Their questions were just beginning. Nolan's grandfather asked the question a lot of people were thinking online. How do you search a shoreline for a full day and find nothing, only to find him there the next morning? Search teams point to shifting tides. Currents can carry a body significant distances overnight, past areas already searched. The scientifically plausible. For Nolan's family, plausible isn't the same as certain. The investigation unfolds. Sheriff Ledbetter said there was no immediate evidence of foul play, but stressed the case was still open. Autopsy results, toxicology, and witness interviews were all pending. He asked the public to stop speculating and instead send investigators any original, unedited photos or videos from Horn Island, since metadata could help reconstruct Nolan's final hours. That request mattered more than anyone expected. A cell phone video from the island spread fast online, showing a heated argument near the shoreline. Internet sleuths slowed it down, enhanced the audio, argued over every word. Some swore they heard, "Give me my phone," because Nolan's phone never left the boat. Plenty of people assumed the voice was his. Track Shepard later said publicly the voice was his, not Nolan's, and that he'd been pulled into an unrelated argument after someone inserted themselves into a dispute with his girlfriend. Several witnesses, including his own family, backed that account. Investigators haven't tied the video to Nolan, but it poured gasoline on an already chaotic online narrative. As the case went national, the Wells family brought in civil rights attorney Ben Crump. An independent autopsy was ordered, and the DA confirmed the case would eventually go before a grand jury, meaning that despite the early no foul play language, investigators were still building a full evidentiary record. Nolan's family wanted independent experts to examine his phone before handing it to investigators. Law enforcement wanted access too. Eventually both sides agreed the phone would be examined jointly, with experts from each side present. The questions on the table were any messages deleted? Did Nolan communicate with anyone after leaving the group? Does the GPS data show movement no one's accounted for? As of now, no forensic findings have been made public. The official autopsy has been completed, but determining an exact cause and manner of death required further toxicology testing. The family funded an independent, second autopsy, supported publicly by Colin Kaepernick, while filmmaker Tyler Perry covered Nolan's funeral costs. A GoFundMe raised hundreds of thousands of dollars from people who never knew Nolan but wanted his family to have answers. The people at the center. Katie McCormick has reportedly cooperated with investigators throughout. Her account, that Nolan planned to return to his friend's boat, directly conflicts with what several friends told police. No evidence has been made public suggesting she committed any crime, and no allegations have been filed against her. But as one of the last people known to have seen Nolan, her account remains central to the case. Track Shepard gave several interviews, including one on Good Morning America, denying the online theories outright. Nobody wanted Nolan to die, nobody harmed him. He said Nolan's friends had received threats from strangers convinced they already knew what happened, and asked people to hold off judgment until investigators finish. No charges have been filed against anyone in Nolan's group. Where things stand. Investigators are still working through witness interviews, cell phone forensics, GPS records, videos from the island, and toxicology results. The DA has confirmed the evidence will go before a grand jury once the investigation wraps. As of now, no arrests, no charges, no official ruling on cause of death. The case remains open. 3 possibilities are being discussed publicly. An accidental drowning, hundreds of people drinking, unpredictable currents, alcohol and water a dangerous mix even for strong swimmers. Something involving another person, a theory fueled by the contradictions in witness accounts, though no public evidence currently supports it. Or a chain of small decisions. A missed ride, a miscommunication, crowds and confusion adding up to a tragedy nobody saw coming. Until the investigation closes, nobody knows which one is true. Nolan's parents haven't asked anyone to rush to conclusions. They've asked for one thing: transparency. Every witness interviewed, every phone examined, every video reviewed. Because once the final findings are announced, there's no second first impression. On the morning he left home, Nolan hugged his mother and told her, "I love you." Those were the last words she'd ever hear from her son. An athlete, a brother, a teammate, someone with a future well beyond one summer weekend who never made it home. Whether this was a tragic accident or something still waiting to be uncovered, one thing hasn't changed. His family deserves the truth. If investigators find something, we'll be the ones to bring it to you first. So subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss the update. And if you want us covering more cases like this, drop it in the comments below. See you in the next one. As of July 2026, the investigation into Nolan Wells' death remains ongoing. Any future developments, including autopsy findings, grand jury actions, or criminal charges, may change the understanding of this case.
I wish that heaven had visiting hours, and I would ask them if I could take you home. I don't know what they'd say, but it's for the best. So I will live life the way you taught me and make it on.